Welcome back, everyone. What's now happening with the elections in the United States is actually very similar to what has happened before in elections in Latin America. And here to talk to us about this is Allan Dos Santos. He's a journalist with Terce Livre, which is one of the bigger media in Brazil. Let's jump into that now. All right, Allan Dos Santos, it's great having you back on Crossroads.
Thank you so much, Joshua. It's my pleasure.
So I understand you're actually just leaving the events happening right now in Philadelphia with the election taking place. I guess before we jump into it, how's it looking on the ground there?
Well, I can see lots of things that's very similar what is going on in South America, because I see lots of people from the left with T-shirts, the same T-shirts, and then we can wondering who paid for that, right? All of them using the same T-shirt, the same signs, the same everything, and then you keep asking who's paying for that. And what I see here in Philadelphia, because I came here just to cover how was the vote counting, and then I see that the Republican Party, it's not supporting Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of sad, to be honest.
Well, you know, I know you have a lot of insight into this because you're from Brazil. I mean, you kind of came to the U.S. because of some of the political issues that were going on there, because they were going after you to an extent.
Yeah.
And you've seen a lot happen there. You're familiar with the politics in many different countries in Latin America. How would you compare what we're seeing now to some of what's happened throughout Latin America with the elections they've had?
Well, first of all, if you compare the maps from the 2016 and the map of 2020, you're going to see that Trump it's not losing, or Trump didn't lose the election. You can see different places with different votes. And then you keep wondering, did Trump do any mistake, or the Republican Party did some mistake? No, they changed lots of rules. Of course, I'm not an expert about the rules of Americans' election, but I can see clearly they use COVID to change rules. And everyone accepted these changes. And this is how they do. In South America, in Chile, that happened, in Argentina, in Bolivia, and also in Brazil. The communists like to use the bureaucracy changing the rules because they know we are not revolutionaries, right? We do not break the law. So they like to use the law enforcement to make you play their game with their rules, with their music, and then you are obliged to dance according to what they want to do.
Now, a lot of people are not familiar with what exactly has been happening in Latin America with elections like this. I mean, we hear the phrase banana republic, and that's often referred to, the reference is these corrupt governments that kind of do whatever they want. They call themselves democracies, they call themselves republics, but really, the governments kind of do whatever they want. We know that this exists, but in terms of how it actually plays out, and to imagine that the same thing would be happening in the U.S., I think this would be shocking to a lot of people. Can you tell us what exactly has happened in some of these countries in Latin America with the changing of the rules in order to make people follow them for the elections?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that what is going on right now in America, it's pretty normal because we are human. We are not angels. So check and balances is pretty good when you are living among human being, along on other people. And the countries like Brazil, like Argentina, they developed ways to make the election faster with progressive technology and all that stuff. But it's a lie because you cannot check the votes after the decision was made. So this is such a thing that we need to be careful. What is going on now in America? It's human being. It's people in doubt about other people's actions. And what is the best way to check it? It's just using other people as a testimony to see if everything is working well. So in South America, they changed that with a voter machine and they use softwares to make the voter machine to do whatever the owner of the voter machine wants to do. So you vote for someone and the result will be different. How can you check it? Because it's a machine. How can you say that the machine was doing wrong? And how can you count the vote? How can you recount the vote? There is no way. And this is what's going on now in Brazil. And guess what? Smartmatic is the machine vote that we use in Brazil was made by Venezuela. That says lots of things. I'm not pretty sure if in America they use lots of Smartmatic machines, but uh, how can you be desperate with something that you need to check? It's human being. This is not paradise. The world is not a paradise. And also, I would like to add the fact that if you can check the vote, it's good. If you cannot check the vote, it's not such a thing that the state is my father and I need to believe in the state, and the state don't need to prove its transparency for me. This is not the way the world works, and we always loved the structure of America because you have lots of check and balances here, but now it's kind of losing that because you cannot doubt, you cannot ask, you cannot make a different argument. You'll be censored in social media. The mainstream media will say that you are with lots of conspiracy theory. And now the state is saying that you are not allowed to say that. Otherwise, you are against democracy. But I would like to remember, I'm sorry, I know it sounds arrogant, but I would like to remember all American people, the world democracy does exist at the Constitution. So the Constitution defends republic and not democracy, because this concept of democracy that communists are twisting nowadays, it's not the democracy the Greek and the Roman thought when they created a republic. And America is the only one country in the world where you have a very good check and balances. And now they are twisting everything, they are changing everything. And I will be honest with you, Joshua, and all the people who are watching me right now. If America will fall in China's hand or every dictatorship's hand, not making America great again, not making America stronger, not strength America. So which country in the world will be able to fight against these people?
You tell me.
It's hard to believe what's going on now in America, because we know that fraud exists in lots of cultures, many of countries, and this will happen a lot because we are human beings. But we can check, we can double check, we can see if everything worked well, and they use the bureaucracy to make us to follow the rules, and this is what happened. Nobody see the same red wave in a blue wave, right? We do not see that in the whole country. What I saw if I'm wrong, but that's what I see. A lots of people supporting Donald Trump and not giving up. The same people that voted for him in 2016 are the same people who are voting for him in 2020, and the people who want to vote for him and for America uh, was growing, was not going down. So why this is happening right now? I do believe it's because American people needs to understand defending freedom here, it's bigger than defending freedom only in America. We are talking about defending freedom for the whole world, because lots of countries depends on the strength of military in America and the economic power that America have already. And has already. And I keep wondering, uh, maybe it's time to American people to understand that we cannot accept any fraud, thinking like, oh, in 4 more years we're going to fix that. No, they do not rest. The leftists and the communists, they do not rest. Once they conquer one place, they will make lots of effort to conquer the double and the triple and go on. They do not pause or go back. If 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 there are some signs of fraud, that need to be investigated. That need to be recounted in every country, in every state, sorry, in every county. And I don't think this is happening. And I'm sorry to say that. It seems like Republican Party, it's helping that happen, because the Republican Party should be the first and the most warrior in defense of the votes for Trump. I don't know if I'm wrong. You can correct me, and lots of people here in America can correct me. But it seems like the Republican Party is part of the swamp. It's part of the establishment was bothered by Donald Trump's change.
I see. So what you're saying is essentially, if people don't stop fraud and problems when they start taking place, when the first buds of these issues take place, if you do not resolve them, the people using these things will not only keep doing it, but they will make it worse and progressively worse and worse until, they get their way, essentially. Is this accurate? Is this how they usually operate?
And also, we can ask ourselves why people in China, in Cuba, in Venezuela are not fighting back to the government, because they do not have the good information. It's not just because they have been threatened by the government, but also because they do not have enough information about what is going on. And these dictatorships, uh, they blocked all the information from the people. And doing this censorship that I'm seeing against the president of the United States of America, I think what they are going to do with me, what they are going to do with any independent media, because if they can censor the president of the United States and nothing is going to happen, they conquer the world. I mean, the big tech sounds like they conquer the world. They are ruling the world. They decide who can say uh, this or that. They decide when you are allowed to say anything. This that doesn't sound correct for me.
Now, Allan, that's just last question. If you were to tell one thing to Americans, you just, of course, you're just now leaving the events in Pennsylvania. You've seen firsthand some of the protests there. You of course just came to the U.S. from Brazil not too long ago, and you've been covering a lot of what's been happening in Brazil with the president Bolsonaro and the elections there as well. If you were to leave Americans with one message, with what we're seeing now, what would it be?
Well, I would like to remember them. All the socialist and communist parties in South America, and not only in South America, are funded by drug dealers' money, and they will never say that to you. They destroy everything they touch. And do not believe when the socialists and communists say that they are going to follow the rule. You need to fight for freedom. And America is the last bastion of freedom in the whole world. Is the strongest economy, the strongest republic in the world. And if you believe that waiting for 4 more years, or waiting a little bit more to defend freedom, the whole world will fall, not only in America.
Now, Allan, I know you were talking about how some of the situations here are similar to what's happened in Latin America. Now, looking at Brazil specifically, what similarities have you seen with how the election has gone in the U.S.?
Well, when Bolsonaro was elected, he was winning the election, and suddenly 2 states stopped counting the votes on the TV, São Paulo and Minas Gerais. Those are very, very huge states. lots of voter over there. We do not have this process that you have here with electoral colleges. We count every vote in Brazil. So suddenly, São Paulo and Minas Gerais stopped counting the votes, and Bolsonaro was almost winning the election at the first turn. And then he needed to go to the second turn after the mainstream media stopped counting the votes. And of course, they are just following the this. We have a court of electoral court in Brazil. It's like in Cuba, like in Venezuela. Unfortunately, we have this kind of situation in Brazil. So they stopped counting for for an hour, I guess, and then when they came back counting, Bolsonaro was still leading, but I do believe he won the election the first turn, with no need to go to the second turn. When I saw in America, suddenly the media stopped counting the votes, and then everything was changing, I was wondering if here in America things are getting more like in Brazil or other countries in South America, because it's very similar. The mainstream media and who is responsible to count the vote just stopped, froze, and then everything happened and everything changed. This is not such a thing that I saw for the first time. This is the second time I saw that. And not only the second time, that happened in all the countries in South America too.
Allan Dos Santos, really appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.